In this video, we'll try to calculate last n years total sightings dynamically. If there is a slicer on the report page, if the user selects the slicer, they can go back to n number of years and look at the total sightings. So now that we understood what we want to do, let us go step by step. So let us first look at our dataset, the table UFO sightings, and let us try to understand the problem statement. So let us try to go to years and maybe use say last 5 or 4 years or whatever. Let us make the selections. Let us go and select say a few years, maybe those 5 years or whatever. Once we select them and click on OK, on the bottom left you can see that 15,496 sightings in those 5 years. So that is exactly we want to create. We want to create a measure so that we'll be able to use that measure dynamically and show those total sightings in that particular window. So let us try to use a Dax Query View and try to build the measure step by step. Let us try to use evaluate statement and then start writing the code. So like we have understood the logic, right? So there should be a min and max, and we want to grab that particular in that particular window the total sightings. So as a first step, let us try to create a variable max, and using max function, it's an iterator function. Let us try to use all selected. But before we do that, let us first create a disconnected table. Right, we don't want to use the calendar table. Let us try to go back to the table view and let us try to create a new table from the table tools, and we will create a disconnected table so that up top the slicer values will come from that particular column, year column from the disconnected table, and by making the selections on the slicer, user can see the total sightings in the below canvas visuals. So let us try to do that. It's a very simple thing. Add the calendar table. You name it as disconnected calendar table. It's a very simple thing. So once you go to the model view and see, make sure that it is disconnected. So it's still disconnected. So that is what we want to move forward with our visual. To create a report page, we have to have a disconnected table. So now that that is done, let us try to grab the year from this disconnected table, because this is what we want to use on the slicer. So let us try to use that table and grab that year column so that we get the max. And like always, let us try to return max, or maybe let us try to create another variable. Here in this case, let us try to create another variable called say min maybe. So I think I have to close the parenthesis for all selected, then only I can see that part. So let us fix that. I'll close. Yeah, I've done that. I have written max. So obviously the max year in our dataset is 2023. That is showing up. Let us now create another variable and call it as min. And min is, we know that within that range, right? So let us try to subtract max value, say last 5 years. So let us say from max 5 years. If user wants to go back 5 years from max, that is what we want. And if we return min, you should get 2018. That is exactly correct, right? That is what we wanted to see. 2023 back 2018. So that is done. And next step is we need to grab the total sightings from within this window, right? So let us create another variable. Let us call it as sightings in this period. And maybe in this we will try to use our trusted calculate function, right? So we give an expression. We know that we want to calculate the total sightings. That is the expression. And let us, once we add that total sightings, let us try to build that filter expression, right? So let us use the filter function, and filter function expects a table. Let us give our calendar table and the original one and the connected one. And also let us try to maybe we understood the logic, right? It has to be between min and max. So here we can say, hey, if the calendar year is greater than or equal to the min, and also it should be less than or equal to max. That should be the filter condition, right? So that way we get that particular range, whatever the user has selected. So that way we have that range, and within that range as a filter expression, we want to calculate the total sightings. It's a simple thing. So let us close the parenthesis and let us do that, and let us try to add the sightings and in the return statement in the curly brace, because this is a table constructor, so we can see the value in the Dax query window itself. So we see that it's 16,130. So I think this is a little bit different than what we have seen. So let us try to maybe I think this is also including the current year, I think 2023. So let us try to remove add -1 to exclude. We are still experimenting, so I think this should be the thing, -1, and run it. So we are getting 15,496. If I remember at the start in the data table, where we have seen that that is 15,496 when we checked all those years excluding the current year. So let us repeat that process. Let us go and check, select those things. Say let us include current year and calculate last 5 years, and let us see the value. The value is different, 13,676 in the bottom. And let us now make sure that we uncheck 2023 and select 2018. So this is 15,496. That is exactly what we got in the Dax Query View also, right? In the result window. So this is good. Now that this is done, let us copy that. Let us create a measure like we always do. Let us right click on the measure table. Let us create the new measure. And here we have added only one additional thing. Instead of the -5 which we have used in the Dax query window, we have used the sighting range parameter, and we have made it as up to 10, so that only 10 values will appear in that slicer. So once we have that, let us drag this last 10 years onto the canvas. It shows blank. So obviously we have not added all those slicers. For example, we didn't add that dynamic selection slicer. So let us try to first grab that decade slicer from a previous report page, and also let us try to copy that slicer from other report page. Once we have that, copy them, and I think this is I didn't copy that. Let me go back to that previous report page, and copy it, because we want to save time. That is the reason why we are doing it. Otherwise we would have done that right from first step. So this is the sightings range parameter slicer, which is limited to 10 values. In previous videos we have created that. So now we select any kind of slicer on the decade bin. Some ways, once you select those other 2010s or 2020, you are getting it, but 2000s and 1990s, you are getting a blank. Now that there is a way to fix this, we have used decade bin. Let us try to switch it out with the disconnected table year. So that that is what exactly we want, right? We want a year on the slicer. So let us try to go back and switch it out from decade bin to let us go to the disconnected calendar table. Let us try to grab that year, and now it should work. So now it means that whenever you select any year on the slicer, and if you have selected the range parameter as 8, in the previous 8 years, right from that point on backwards, not including the current selection, it will give you the total sightings, year sightings, right? In this case, if you select say 1942, go 8 years, it is saying that 7 and 14 and whatever. So based on the selections, it is changing. I think this is a good step. So I think our code is working correctly, but make sure that you're grabbing the year from the disconnected table for the slicer. So that is one. And if you make any other selections on the dynamic sighting slicing parameter, so those values also change, obviously, right? So now that we have done this, let us try to drag a line visual onto the canvas, and let us try to add the data here. So for the x-axis and y-axis, we have added the values. We have added total sightings and last 10-year sightings, and we have made the changes. We have made the changes. We have added data labels, and we have added markers and as such. And again, on the y-axis, we have added total sightings and last 10 years. And the total sightings line is a dashed line. And also we have made sure that we have the leader lines also. So try to play around. Most of you might know all these settings, but you can just play around. I can briefly show that too. So we can change the shape last 10 years also. We can change the marker size and all that stuff. We have the data labels applied only to the last 10 year sighting so that the visual is not crowded. So those things can be done. Just quickly trying to do that, and also I've added the leader lines so that those values are kind of we know that these are the last 10 years values. So that is done. If you see that from 1950 back, whatever selection value, those are the last 10 year values, right? The total sightings in 1945, 46, 47, 48, and 49. So not including the current year. So we have excluded the current year selection. So we make all the changes, change the color, change the total sightings into a dashed line, and all that stuff, right? Based on your needs, you can do that. I'm quickly doing all those things. And x-axis is year, and y-axis you have your total sightings and last 10 years. So now that we have done, let us see in case if we have to do anything in this format settings. It looks good. So for example, if you click on any kind of slicing parameter values or any kind of selections on the year, this is working perfectly. And one more thing is we have already created a measure, right? So we want to use that measure. So let us instead of the user adding up all those values, we want that card to appear. So click on format and bring forward to front. So it is always shown on your line visual itself. So whenever you click on any year, go back to the number of selections, whatever you made. So those values also will change. So that the user doesn't have to add up all those values. It's already there. So if it is 1996 and last 5 years, 1844 is the last 10 year sighting. So visually you can see those individual values, and also cumulatively you can see all those last 10 year sightings from the card visual. I think this visual looks good, and we just started calculating all those things, and we wanted to have a dynamic last 10 year sightings. So I think we have achieved what we have intended to, and you can improve upon this code also. You can improve, make other changes too. But for now, I thought this is the best way to look at the data and try to gather more insights from the data. And that way we have additional visual also. So thanks for watching. See you in the next video.